We've all been there, having a battery die when it's least convenient. So let's save some power and get to the best ways to save power on your Windows 10 devices. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and suggest using the battery power save mode on your computer. So what you'll do is go into Settings, and you'll go into System, and then you'll go down here on the left and click Battery, and you can turn on your battery saver. You can alter its settings here. Right now it'll automatically turn on at 20%, but you can raise it all the way up even to 100%, and you saw my screen kind of flicker there. What that does is it automatically darkens the screen, changes some background activity. Another thing that you can do is adjust the brightness on your screen. Sometimes it's one of the F keys, like the F2 and F3, or even F11 and F12. So you can go into your settings and then go under System, and then under Display you can see change the brightness for the built-in display, and you can change it here. The next thing is you can turn off your keyboard backlight, which if your keyboard does have a backlight, it is usually an F key. You might have to hold the F in and then hit an F key, such as F5 on my HP. The next thing you can do is shut off your sounds, and you can use your F keys. Mine are F7 and F8, but you can lower your volume all the way to 0. Or you can go into Settings, go into System, into Sound, and shut your master volume completely off. The next thing you should do is adjust your power and sleep settings. You'll go into Settings, System, Power and Sleep, and then you'll check your screen settings and your sleep settings. The thing you should focus on most is on battery power rather than being plugged in, because when it's plugged in and charging, you know, you're charging. The higher your brightness is and things of that nature while you're charging is going to slow down the battery's charging, and it'll also cause the battery to heat up a little bit. But what we're focusing on here is on battery power. Turn off your screen after so many minutes, or put the computer to sleep after so many minutes. Another great setting is changing what your laptop does when you shut the laptop lid. You'll once again go into Settings, go into System, Power and Sleep, and on the right hand side under Related Settings you'll click on Additional Power Settings. Now this opens up your control panel. Right here where it says Change Plan Settings, that's basically what we already just did in the Power and Sleep settings in the Settings app. So that's what that does. Now click on choose what the power button does or choose what closing the lid does. They both take you to the same screen, and it has what the power button and what the lid does under battery and what it does when it's plugged in. Sleep is a good thing. You can also change it to do nothing, hibernate, shut down, or just simply turn off the display. Sleep or shut down are the better options. Turning off the display leaves the computer completely active. Hibernate, it's a good option, but I still prefer sleep or shut down. Another great option is to disconnect all of your USB devices. Another awesome thing that Windows 10 has is you can change your themes to being darker. You can also change your backgrounds to being darker, which obviously you've been able to change your backgrounds for decades, but this here, changing your backgrounds to a darker display definitely does help. So we'll go into Settings, we'll go into Personalization, and under Background you can change your background to be something a little bit darker. You can go into Colors here, and you can choose your color. I have mine set to dark, but you can change it to light, and it changes the theme of the computer to be a lighter, or the mode of the computer to be a light mode versus a dark mode. You can do custom. I prefer dark mode. One, it's easier on my eyes. Two, it actually saves battery. Another thing you can do is go down here to Themes, and you can use a custom theme. If you can go with one that has all of your colors a bit darker, you can find one of those in the Microsoft Store, or you can completely customize a theme that fits you. Change your background, your colors, your sounds, your cursors, all of that. Another thing that you can do is if you go down here to your battery, down here in the taskbar, or if it's not in the taskbar, it'll be in your system tray. You come down here and you click on it. If you want your best performance, you go ahead and ramp it up, and that'll help you if you're doing some sort of graphics design. However, if you need to save battery life, just go to best battery life. That'll adjust all your settings to help save your battery. You can always come down here to your network icon and shut off your Wi-Fi beforehand, but that gets kind of annoying. So something else that makes it a little bit easier, a little bit more automated, is you can go into Device Manager, and when you're in Device Manager, you'll go down to Network Adapters. You'll get onto whatever adapter that you're using, change its or go into Properties and go into Power Management, and you'll check this box that allows the computer to turn off this device to save power. Most people won't do that, especially if you have your email syncing overnight, or if you have updates that you're pushing and so on and so forth. Also, if this is a work computer, this setting probably is blocked by your administrator. So unless this is your personal computer, chances are you won't be able to get to this setting, which is perfectly okay. Shut off Bluetooth when it's not needed. So you'll go into Settings, you'll go into Devices, Bluetooth and other devices, and just shut off your Bluetooth. Use airplane mode when you are not in the need of internet, Bluetooth, or any other wireless connections. This can be done by going into Notifications and looking at all of these tiles and finding airplane mode, or when you're in Settings, you can go to Network and Internet, go down to airplane mode, and turn on airplane mode. Another option, and some people might not like this, but change your sync settings on your email and OneDrive, so that way your computer isn't constantly syncing those applications, because every time it does that, it's going to ramp up your network a little bit, and it's going to up your processes and a few other things, and that's basically going to start draining your battery. So even if your computer's asleep. So the way to do that, it really depends on the program, whether you're using Outlook or Mail or whatever other apps you have on your Windows device. But you can usually be found in Settings and then something like Managing Accounts. If you have a lot of power hungry or resource hogging programs and applications, only use them when you absolutely need them. Otherwise, there's no sense in running them in the background and having them suck up a bunch of resources. Reboot your computer if you feel like a program is sucking up too much power or too many resources. Go down here to Start, Shut Down, or Sign Out. Now I right-clicked on this. You can left-click and hit the power button and click Restart, either way. When you're not using your computer, shutting it down is a really good option for saving battery, but also just overall protection of your computer. Microsoft does suggest on their support site to use Microsoft Edge as your default web browser. They say that it uses the least amount of power. I'll take their word for it. If you really want to dive into fine-tuning your battery life, go ahead and open up Settings, go into System, go into Power and Sleep. On the right-hand side, go to Additional Power Settings. We were already here once. Now, the difference is what we're going to do is change plan settings here, and then change advanced power settings. Now, when you go into here, this is a lot of deep diving that most people probably shouldn't touch. So unless you're somewhat techie, I would highly caution you from going here. I would say unless you know what you're doing with computers, I wouldn't touch this. A few extra tips to help preserve your battery's life. Only charge your laptop when you need to. Do not unplug your laptop unless it is at 100%. If you keep unplugging it every time it's at 90%, eventually that 90% is actually going to be 100% of your battery life. Another thing is that if you work with your computer constantly plugged in, whether it's plugged into a docking station or the charger, if it's always plugged in and getting power, go into your BIOS and look for a setting in power management will probably be the title of it. I know on Dell and their newer BIOS, it's called power management. And then look for something along the lines of primarily AC use. So when you go in and you check out that BIOS, again, if you are not tech savvy, stay out of BIOS. If you know what you're doing, by all means try this. Get into get into power management, change it to primarily AC use. That'll help save the life of the battery. And then one final tip, do not set your laptop on cloth or any other soft surfaces, because it can cause the battery to heat up, especially if it's charging, and it can also cause other internal devices to overheat, such as your processor. So avoid setting it on your lap, a pillow, or a blanket. Always keep it on a hard surface such as a table or a desk. As always, thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe.